Welcome to One for the Girls podcast, your one-stop shop for our take on art and pop culture, dating, and romance in the real world. I'm your host, Carly, and I'm joined by my dear friend and co-host, Haley.
Hello.
So keep listening, ladies. This one's for you. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of One for the Girls. We are excited for today's show because this is our final episode in this beauty series called Bold and Beautiful. We've been covering different topics each week of this series, and we cannot wait for you to enjoy this last beauty episode with us. Today's episode will be covering beauty procedures, and then we will also be talking about the work we have done individually to illuminate our true inner beauty and the people who have inspired us on our journey. Before we get started, I'd like to welcome some of our friends to the show. We have Candy. Hello, Candy.
Hey.
And we have Christian. Hi, Christian.
Hi.
So glad to have each of you. As always, y'all make the show better. Absolutely. For our listeners, if you are listening to the podcast and you would also like to watch this conversation, you can head over to Pones Media's YouTube page and find us there as well. I just wanted to check in with everyone first before we fully get into the throes of things to see if any of you have any updates about products from last week. I know that I don't have any updates in particular, but I will start with Candy. Do you have any updates for products we've talked about last week or on any previous beauty episodes?
I got a Shea Moisture curl enhancer, and I tried the Curly Girl method. I did plop it right before this, but it didn't dry yet. I just got out of the pool. This is in its infancy. We'll see how it works. But I took it out of its little it's called a plop, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it'll stay curly, but I can see more curls just from it being wet. So
yeah.
We'll see.
Well, you look fabulous. So I'm excited for you. Excited to hear about the results once your hair dries. So,
for sure. We'll see.
What about you, Christian? Do you have any updates?
I do. So I talked about hair masks at one point last week, actually, from Briogeo, and I tried it, and I really, really like it, guys. Another really, really good product from Briogeo. It's their kiwi and kale superfood hair mask or something. I should have brought it here so I had it to reference, but the texture of it is really lightweight, so I feel like people with fine hair would be okay using it. And I honestly didn't think I was going to like it. I put it out in my hand and was like, oh, this is really thin for a hair mask. This isn't going to do anything. But I realized the next day when I was twirling away at my hair that it makes my hair so soft. And for any of our viewers, all I did last night was wash it and put that in and then do the plop method, like Candy said, to get some curls. And I mean, I feel like I got some pretty good curls out of it. So yeah, that's my big update. And it was amazing.
I love that. That's fantastic. Especially, for people like me who have really, really thin, fine hair. Granted, my hair is, it's not curly at all.
But I still think it might nourish your hair.
But it always needs nourishment. So that's exciting. I might try that one out.
Cool. Hey, I have a second one. I might pass it on to you.
Well, only if you're done with it. But thank you. Haley, what about you? Have you tried any new products that we've talked about in last episodes?
So I actually went to the hair salon and got my hair done. I cut 4 to 5 inches off, which, I mean, it's probably hard to tell from previous episodes to now. This is the first time that it's been wavy since I got it done, so I didn't realize how much that 4 inches looked, I guess. So it's a little bit weird. I don't know. I'm not used to it being as short, but it's so healthy now, and I got a little bit of highlights type partial balayage in there. So anybody in my area, kind of near the Austin area in Texas, Salt and Wave Salon in Leander is freaking adorable, and the stylist I had, Cassidy, she's one of the co-owners. She's an award-winning stylist, and the prices were very competitive with other salons. So I would say check it out. I don't know where I put them. I let the girls know before this started. I bought some of the magnetic lashes that were a cheaper option than some of the ones we talked about in the eyes episode. The Kiss brand, which is cruelty-free and vegan. I looked it up. It was $7. I think either $7.99 or $6.99 for these magnetic lashes. But either my fault or, their fault for making it look like the liner comes in there and it doesn't. I assumed it did and it doesn't, so I didn't get to try them out yet. But
Doesn't make sense.
I'm so sad about that because I really wanted to try them on and like put them on for this episode so everybody could see it, because I know Candy and I have been wanting to try magnetic ones, but at a cheaper price. And so I will let you know as soon as I go buy that. Also, to dog shame my dog for a second, because you'll see her moving around. She's going to be here hopefully the whole episode if she doesn't start acting a fool. But she was chewing on my carpet while I was putting on makeup, and so she is now stuck next to my side so that she cannot ruin my floor any further than she already has. And I apologize in advance. I'm going to be kind of looking at my phone here because I have a very important message to kind of share with you guys, and I don't want to mess it up. And that way, I don't want to get lost in the words. So for the people viewing us, at least, you'll see me kind of looking down. But like Carly said, we're going to be talking about beauty procedures, inner and outer beauty. And once again, Carly and I will be guiding the conversation. And, just so you can share any experiences, any recommendations, and just your thoughts on some of these procedures, whether or not you would or wouldn't do them. And as you know, we've been highlighting products from Black-owned beauty companies. So we are going to be highlighting at least one. This episode's a little bit different because we're not doing like specific products, but we will be highlighting at least one. And we're doing this because, we just want to be intentional about where our money and our support is going. And the best way to topple a corrupt system is by caring about the people who are oppressed and by the system. Sorry, almost lost my train of thought there. And then using our resources to make positive change for those people. So that's kind of why we made this challenge when we started the beauty series, and we still hope that people will follow it afterwards. So the important message we wanted to share with everybody was that there's an important intersectionality between the LGBTQ community and the Black community. And we encourage you to do what you can to learn about how you can become an informed and supportive ally. The beginning spark of the modern gay rights movement was started and largely led by trans women of color, namely Marsha P. Johnson and Miss Major, which are both Black trans women, and Sylvia Rivera, a Latina trans woman. So, as you all know, Pride Month was last month, and Pride Month is a great time to remind ourselves of why the LGBTQ advocacy is important. But of course, 1 month a year is really not where our advocacy, gosh, I can't talk, ends, where it should end. It should be all year long for all these groups, but specifically we wanted to mention this because it was last month, and the majority of Pride events are held in June to commemorate the anniversary of the Stonewall Rebellion in New York on June 28th, 1969. I wanted to make sure I didn't mess up that date, so I had to look down. It's very, very important. Most historians consider this to be the birth of the modern LGBTQ movement. So, at the time, police raids on bars and catering to LGBT patrons were common, but that night the patrons of Stonewall Inn fought back. So you can see that there's kind of a connection that we're trying to show you with what's kind of going on now. There were riots. They were what do we call it? A national firestorm of activism. So if you can think about what we're seeing now, that's why I wanted to look at my phone so I didn't mess up how important this message is, because we're seeing it. So if you want to learn more about this, but you aren't sure where to start, you can find helpful resources at GLAAD, which is GLAAD.org. And ultimately, the goal of our episode today is to share and grow together with the purpose of feeling good and empowering each other. But we didn't want to do that without mentioning Pride Month and the importance of where it started and the importance of what's going on today. So if you ladies are ready, we're going to jump right in. We're going to start our beginning kind of still in that outer beauty section. Just kind of wrap it up. We want to start with nails. So my nails aren't done. I do not do my own nails. I will be the person who gets nail polish all over my fingers. I don't know how to shape them. I'm horrible about taking care of my cuticles. Pretty sure that the nail salons are mad at me about that every time I go in. But I'll let you guys know what I do when I go to the nail salon is I ask for tips. So I'm that bad person as well who puts acrylic nails on top of my nails and kind of ruins them. It's just not healthy for your nail to have that glued on all the time. So I get the tips. I get them in the coffin shape. I don't know why. I feel like it makes the fingers just look slimmer, which sounds weird, like that you want your fingers to look skinny, but I don't know. I feel like it makes them look like sleek, I guess. And then I do the dip powder. I don't find it to be very sanitary, but I have a hard time finding a salon that will still put the powder on using brushes, and I don't like regular polish or gel because I don't feel like it lasts as long as powder. So unfortunately, dip is my only option in this area, which is also SNS for people who have that around them. I probably get them done maybe once a month, once every couple of months. It's like $40 to $60 depending. Some salons will charge you if you change the shape, if you have more than one color. So it's a bit pricey. And so that's it for me. That's why I don't have them done now. I have more important things going on with my health and stuff where that money's going, and it's not going to my nails. And unfortunately, because I do love having them done, and I feel like I honestly can't type without them, which sounds really stupid, right? Because most people have a hard time functioning with longer nails. And I've had them done since I was 16 years old. So it's just like habit for me personally. But I want to know about you guys. So, Candy, what about you?
So I'm low maintenance when it comes to things that I have to be up. I'd rather just like not do that. I love getting a pedicure because like I can keep nail polish on my toes like forever, like, and get them redone and stuff. But like my nails, I'm taking them off within like the first 3 days. So I only get them done when it's something like I'm going somewhere super fancy or on vacation or somewhere like big. I don't have them done every day, like day-to-day stuff. And I can't paint my own nails with crap. I can do my toes fine, but I can't do my fingers. And like if it's regular nail polish, I'll be picking at it. So I also like the coffin style though. I agree with you. I think it makes your nails look, I don't know, like your fingers look better. Like you're not lying. I had them done really pretty. I went to the law school prom last year, and like I had a marble accent, and I had like gold foil on some of them, and they were gorgeous, and I loved them. And I took them off like the day after the ball because I cannot type. I can't button my clothes. I like jammed on my everything. This nail like broke like in the middle because like I don't get the gel dip. I don't do like the acrylic. I do like the gel like dip, like form it and stuff like that, which is supposed to be better. But I mean, my nails still broke, so no, I love it, but we're like,
yeah, I feel you on that. I got them, as I would call it, Cardi B length last time instead of like my normal length nail, and they were horrible. I couldn't do anything. I literally was asking my husband to button my own work pants. So
I don't even get them long. I get them the shortest you can for coffin, which is longer than normal because coffin needs that extra length.
Yes.
And then like, I don't know. And when I was in high school, I used to love like the French tip squared out nail, and now I don't like it on me. I think it looks awful on my fingers. I don't know why I have a obsession with it. So
I feel like that was everybody's like go-to first thing with squared nails, and then either a French tip or like I had it like it was a color tip. I didn't have the white tip, but now I'm like, no, I want the whole nail colored. I don't want no tip thing. So
I started having a tip, but I had like, so they were the glitter tips for a while, and I was like, I'm gonna be different. So I had like my nail bed be glitter and then the white tip, and I actually still kind of like that, but I like it better with a coffin nail look. I don't know what I was thinking.
Yes. Let me just tell you, boys and media and stuff always makes it like funny that when a girl breaks her nail, it's like really upsetting. And it's like, oh my God, she broke her nail, right? And I'm like, hold up. That thing is glued to me. It's bleeding. Yeah. It hurts. Like, you don't understand how bad that feels until it happens. So just saying, don't make fun of it until you have to deal with, you know, the fact that your nail, like your actual nail, is broken underneath the fake nail. So
or getting the acrylics off of your nails.
Yes.
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 But I love having a pedicure, and my toes are always done. They're never naked, so
Mine are naked right now. Just with the salons, like with COVID right now, the last time I went and got my nails done, they were having to wear those full face ones, kind of like nurses, and they were very uncomfortable doing the pedicures with those on. Like they wear the normal masks when they do your nails always and your pedicures, but they made them wear like the big face screens. And I was like, I don't want to be like making them have to wear these. So I just haven't gone yet. But what girl? I mean, I guess if you hate feet, we have a friend who hates feet. She doesn't like pedicures. And if you're super ticklish, I would say you don't probably like pedicures. But most girls do, and guys too. I see plenty of guys at the nail salon getting pedicures and manicures.
Goodness.
Yeah. Well, Christian, what about you?
So I have tried nail polish. I've tried, with the whole COVID thing, we're at home and I just wanted to do something nice for myself. And I tried multiple times and it failed horribly. So I've given up on trying to do my nails by myself. I like to go to the salon every now and then. Kind of like Haley said, my money tends to go to different places than that. But every now and then it's one of those nice things, like you treat yourself and for like a couple days you want to talk with your hands a lot and just accentuate everything with like a wrist flick because you just feel really feminine and pretty. And I like doing that sometimes. But honestly, right now, the thing I want to try more of are the nail polish sheets or like the stickers that you just put on your nails and smooth it on and you're done, because that's the kind of convenience I need in my nail care right now. I love pedicures too. I would love to go get one when things go back to normal because it's a nice way to relax and it's a nice thing to do for yourself. But I'm also one of those people that's always like, I'm sorry about my feet.
Yeah.
So
no. I'm like, I'm sorry. Whenever I was in high school, Christian knows because we played soccer and your feet were not always the best.
Right.
They did a nice little scrub thing on the bottom to get those calluses away because the soccer cleats, you're like, I'm so sorry. Like,
exactly.
Please,
like,
I apologize.
I lift a lot. I'm sorry about these feet. Yeah. But hey.
I will say there's only a few things that I will shave my legs for. And a pedicure is one of them.
True.
That's true. Close to. Oh, that's so bad.
You're
not like that day. I do it before, like a couple days. Like
okay, yeah, no, because you
right
can
have like werewolf legs.
Yeah, you can get infections. Yeah, because if you leave the like pores and all that open and
open,
like a wound, right? But I'm not gonna go with like real hairy legs. So.
Right, exactly. Because again, nobody wants to be that person that your technician sitting there like, okay, yeah, thanks for this. So,
I mean, they do have to do it for men too, so they probably don't mind that if legs are hairy. But I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing.
I feel like prickly woman hair is different from like the general like Sasquatch hair that men tend to have on their legs. I might be wrong though.
Their whole foot covered in it.
Oh yes.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't.
Thank
you to all the people that work in nail salons that do pedicures because I couldn't do it.
Yeah, all the beauty really, because I'm sure they just got to deal with a whole bunch, waxing, all that. But anyways, not to get off too far off of a tangent, I want to hear what Carly does with her nails.
Yeah, so I don't really do anything. I keep my nails really, really short. I am a musician. I play the guitar, and that's currently actually what's paying my bills right now. So I can't really have nails too much. Like, they can't really be long. Right now, my nails are long, and they're actually kind of gross. But I'm going to show you. These are long nails for me. Like, this is to the point where I almost am going to have to cut them to be able to comfortably play the guitar. So, and I have really short nail beds. So whenever they're short and they're like that, it looks almost more odd when there's color on them. Because then it's like this little baby, like, of color. But it's great. I love my hands. They do a lot for me. So I'm happy with it. But when I do my nails, if I'm trying to just get, like, a really effortless look, like, sometimes I'll, like, occasionally we'll go get them done. So that way I could just have color on. But, like, the way that works for me usually is like after I play the guitar like one time or two times, the nail polish is like rubbed off or chipped, no matter what. Like, I mean, Granted, this is not like fake nails put on. This is more of like if I get like a gel manicure or something. So it's kind of a bummer. Like I can't really, unless I know I'm not going to be playing the guitar for like a period of time, which that hasn't been a reality for me at this point. But maybe at some point I'll go back and get more done. But I do want to try. I'm with you, Christian. I do want to try the sheet nail color, where you just press it on. But I want to try it without having to go through like an MLM thing.
Yeah.
Because there's like
Right.
there's an MLM of it, and I'm like, I support you, but I don't want to get entanglement. I don't want to get involved in that. Yeah. So I basically, I have in the past had some nail polishes that I would use, but like I don't even have any now. That's like the one part of like my beauty game that I'm wanting to like step up.
This brand, Carly, the brand that you like for your lash glue, Kiss,
Uh-huh.
they have like little press-on ones that you could just pop off to play the guitar and then glue back on.
Those are
See,
nice too. I
that
have
might be
tried
my
those.
jam. Although I feel like if they're glued on, I would probably have to like acetone them off and then they'd be done.
No, they pop off really easily because
Yeah,
I have
they're
tried
like
to do.
press-on glue.
I've tried to keep them on for long periods of time. It just
They don't stay on.
Yeah, no.
Might
So
be
There's sheets at Walmart too that isn't like MLM. I'm not
Mhm.
I didn't know
Kiss
that.
And
brand, use
Ulta.
them. And you
yeah,
can
I
get,
know that the Kiss brand has a
Selling-
lot of press-on nails, lots of like nail
Okay.
sheet stuff.
yeah.
Um,
Sally Hansen has a really good one. I've used a couple of times, and they have these butterfly one that's really pretty. But I put it on my toes because I chipped my. I
yeah, I would love to do that on my toes too. I also do love pedicures. Since y'all were talking about pedicures too, I love pedicures. My husband loves pedicures, but we have not been like we usually go together. I mean, he's like
Nice.
yes, he is so about them. But we haven't been since this whole. I mean, we haven't been in a while anyway, but we haven't been for sure since this whole COVID situation. And I don't know when we'll be going, but I do want to speak to us talking about our legs and our leg hair and all that. Because since I used to work at a spa, I talked to a lot of people who did a bunch of waxing and who did pedicures and who were massage therapists, and all of them literally like told me that they really don't even notice or care that much because they see so many people and most of them haven't shaved, whether guys or girls. And so most of them are like, it bothers you way more than it bothers us.
I figured.
And
Yeah.
so if that helps ease your mind, because I've asked them, I'm like,
Maybe.
so the only person I personally shave my legs for, like professional speaking besides
Gynecologist?
myself, no, I don't for the gynecologist, but I do for my chiropractor.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah,
A
because I
doctor.
respect my chiropractor.
Exactly, yes.
Not that I don't respect my gynecologist, I do, but like they're not really touching my legs. If they're touching my legs,
No.
that's weird. So I'm like,
Yeah, no.
Not
If your
new, but my
gynecologist
chiropractor
is like caressing
right.
your leg during
touches
your
my leg.
exam,
There's
you
a
might
problem.
need a new
Please
gynecologist.
leave.
PSA, if your
report it.
gynecologist is touching your legs, you need to write a report. You need to leave. That's funny.
I do want to add that you do not have to shave your legs for anything.
Yeah.
I have
Yes.
friends
True.
not shave.
You can
Literally,
you
they
can
don't.
I had this conversation with my husband recently and I said, if hair grows there, it's supposed to grow there. So I'm okay with it being there
Shave
wherever it is.
yourself.
Yeah,
Mhm.
seriously. Like
Yeah.
I literally that's why I'm like I don't the only person I shave for besides me, that's why I said besides myself, is my chiropractor, and that's just because I'm trying to make her life easier. But I it's great that you say that because
Yeah.
it's been something that I think we should talk about. But it's a huge thing that I think is really, really important about beauty. And I think this kind of ties into the inner beauty part too,
Yeah.
is understanding that like there are certain air quote standards that are not really standards. They're just like rules that people make up, and like your body literally the way it is right now is the way it's supposed to be. And like you don't have to like do all these crazy elaborate measures in order to like suddenly become beautiful. Like you can enhance your natural beauty, but if you are at war with who you are and like what your body is, then you're going to be in a struggle, and your natural beauty, I feel, is going to be like trapped, because you're not really living the true essence of you. So I'm really, really, really glad you said that, Candy, because it's important.
It is.
Like,
Yeah.
we have to talk about it, and body shaming is a real thing. And women, in my personal experience, I feel like women are really, really good at body shaming each other.
Mhm.
And I just don't think we should be doing that, period. But also, like, this life is really, really hard anyway. Without us doing this to each other, like, we really should be uplifting each other and not going out of our way to tear other people down. But I think a lot of that happens because we're already, like, we're in an unhealthy place.
Right.
If you're in a healthy place, like, you don't need to tear people down, and you won't tear people down if you're in a healthy place. So at least that's how I've experienced life. But I do want to talk, before we get too far off, I do want to talk about a nail polish company, that's a Black owned beauty company that I actually really, really want to try. And this means a lot because I don't really try a whole lot, because I don't want to, use something that, like, I mess up in like an hour. But this company is called Pear Nova, pear like the fruit. And they have several gorgeous nail lacquers to choose from. Their formula is cruelty free, it's vegan, and it's 5 free, which I didn't know what that meant until I was doing research for this. But 5 free essentially means that there is no trace of the 5 most toxic common ingredients that are found in many nail polishes. If you want to learn more about that and you're like, what does that mean? You can find out more information about all of that on their website, and you can also buy their nail lacquers directly from their website, and that is Pear Nova, PearNova.com. Also, find them on Instagram because their nail inspiration pictures, they're amazing. Highly, highly recommend. So, with that, we are going to transition now more into treatments. Specifically, let's talk about whenever we were talking about our eye episode, we talked about like lashes that we put on, but we did not talk about lash lift or lash extensions. So I want us to talk about those. I also want us to talk about hair extensions. And since we were just talking about waxing, I want to talk about that too, waxing. So I'll start, and I'll remind you on each, you don't have to keep all those in your head. Like, I'll prompt you as we go. Like, what did she just say? So I'll start. When it comes to lashes, I have had a lash lift. And for those of you who are listening, and for those of you with me on the show today, if you are not quite sure what a lash lift is, essentially, I like to think of it as like a perm, but for your eyelashes. And so the procedure itself is somewhat lengthy. If I remember correctly, I think it was like an hour to 2 hours procedure. What they do is they'll basically have you lie down or sit in a reclining chair, and they put this little gel piece like over your eyelashes, and they will kind of, with like a little brush, paint on this perm like chemical like solution onto your eyelashes, and it basically, you have to keep them on like with this little gel thing on, and the gel thing is like curling your lashes into that like just eyelash curled position, so they're like curled up. And it's a little bit uncomfortable if you're kind of claustrophobic. I'm claustrophobic. And so if anything covers my face or like my eyes, it kind of freaks me out. And so I will admit, I did have to pause the first time I ever got one. I had to pause, and I had to sit up for a second and like recollect myself, because it felt really claustrophobic for me. But if you don't have that problem, that might not be an issue. But I do want to say that in case that's your like fear. This is something that, it can be uncomfortable if you don't know what what's happening going in. So I would ask a lot of questions before you do that. But once I was able to get comfortable, it was fine. Like it has to stay on for a certain amount of time, and then they take off the little gel thing that's on your eyelid, and then your lashes are permed, and they're just permed up, and they don't look thicker, but they look like you've curled them with like an eyelash curler, and they stay like that. For the most part, it was pretty simple. I think I would say it lasted maybe 3 weeks. It depends on how much you shower and get like water on them. If you're just washing your face and you're really gentle with like makeup remover on your eyelashes and stuff, like it might last a little bit longer. But I liked it. It wasn't super expensive. I think mine costs like $60 maybe. And I think my only negatives about it was that, it doesn't really last a long time, which that's fine if maybe you're just wanting it for like an event or something. But I will say that once my lashes were getting to the point of the end of that perm, like as it was wearing off, it kind of wore off in a weird way. So my lashes kind of looked funky for a little bit. There was like maybe a 1 week window where my lashes weren't really like right. They were kind of odd. And, I could curl them all I wanted, but like that wasn't doing a whole lot because they were like chemically permed that way. So that was kind of a weird learning curve. But once I was past that point, like at that point, you could either get another lash lift, right? Or you could just kind of let your lashes do their thing. And I chose to just let my lashes go. So I don't know that I'd get another one, only because I had kind of the same results as if I would just curl my lashes. So I just chose to do the extra work and curl my lashes every day when I wanted to. So there's that. I have not personally done lash extensions. I have not done hair extensions, but I have done waxing. I have gotten my legs waxed. I probably won't do that anymore. Like for me, like the pros and cons, like I just feel like shaving gives me pretty much almost the same effect. Honestly, my hair grew back basically just as fast, and it was painful, and I still reacted. Like my skin's really sensitive. So it's like I got razor burn, sort of like I got wax burn or whatever from the wax. So like I didn't really have a different experience from shaving my legs, except it was more painful and quicker. And then I also have gotten a bikini wax. And I feel like it's kind of the same too. Like for me personally, I got so irritated after my bikini wax. And I even had like all the fancy schmancy little products that you put on to like calm your skin. And I'm like, my skin is not calm. Like it was so angry. And so it was one of those things that's like, it was like as if I would have shaved, really, as far as the way my skin was responding. So personally, waxing just didn't really do it for me. I will say I did notice, I guess, a difference in the way that my skin felt with my bikini wax versus shaving, but it wasn't a big enough difference for me to go through it again because, like, I was like, it's a lot more expensive, and I broke out the same way that I would have if I would have gotten like a bad razor burn. So that's my story there. If waxing is your thing and you want to go that route, I recommend it. A lot of people like it. I'm not boycotting the procedure. I just feel like for me, it didn't really work that well, or with what I was wanting it to be. So that is mine. I will go next. I will bump over to Candy. Candy, let's start with lash treatments. Have you ever had any lash lift or lash extensions?
No lash lift, no lash extensions. We talked about lash extensions, or like I asked y'all about it during the eye episode, and
unofficially.
I think I'm done with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like my. I used to have a want for it, but I don't want to take care of it. I'm not somebody who likes to upkeep things. Like I like to do my makeup, but I like to do it when I want to do it. I don't want to have to like be like, oh shoot, that's grown out or that's like bad. I need to go redo it. and I don't like the awkward phase. And I have kids and the puppy pulling up my eyes all the time, anyways. So
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
think
lot.
it's going to be in my lifestyle right now. The lash, what do you call it, perm thingy
The
that you did,
lift,
lift, sounds interesting. I don't know if I could have it on my eyes like that, though. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a little invasive. I mean, not invasive like it's
Mhm.
in your eye. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
But like the thing is sitting on top of your eyelid, and they basically paint it, like if I can show like with my fingers. It's like here, and they paint your like lashes up onto like where my pinky is, sorta, and it's just like there. And so like you can't really move your eye. You can't really open your eye because the thing sits on like your whole eyelid. So like you can kind of open your eye, but only a little bit. So if that's like your worst nightmare, it might be a little bit uncomfortable for
It's
you.
not like my worst nightmare, but I mean, it's not on the things I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, today. So I might save that for like some event that I want to go to, and like really just something, instead of just trying it now, save it for that. I might do it though. That one sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's not terrible. I wish if I could go back, I would ask if they could do one eye at a time. Because if I could, with a mirror, like if I could watch them do it and it was just one eye at a time, I know it would take longer and they don't want to do that probably, but I could handle that a little bit better. But it's both eyes at the same time, which is why it's like, "Ah!" So,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, super fun. Have you done any hair extensions before, Candy?
I've never
Yeah.
dyed my hair. I've never done any hair extensions. Never highlighted nothing. So I'm pretty boring when it comes to my hair.
I'm with you there. I've had none.
Boring.
I've had none, but I'm interested in them, so we will explore that.
Yeah, no, it's not
Yeah.
the month of wanting. Again, it's just like the upkeep and going in, and it takes so long to get them and
Totally.
taking care of them. So maybe I'll try it soon because I want to add some like more than length. I really just want the like thickness back that I used.
Volume. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's exactly what I would have them too. I don't really want them longer. I just want to have more hair.
more.
Yeah. More. Yeah, I'm with you there. Have you ever waxed anything?
Nope. Again,
Yeah.
I want to do like, you know, the bikini wax and all that stuff, Brazilian. I want to try all of that, but like my fear of getting this done. So if y'all have done it before and like tell me it's not that bad, and if it is that bad, don't tell me. So
Well, my opinion on the bikini wax is that it's really not that bad as far as like initial pain. Like, I mean, it's not like it doesn't hurt, but it's not like your worst imaginable nightmare. Like, it's really not that bad.
It's not
when
like
it comes
Steve
to that.
Carell and 40-Year-Old
It's
Virgin.
no,
It's
he's
not
like
that.
way exaggerating. Although I don't know, he
I
got his
don't
nipple
know.
waxed.
I would
That
say
might
that.
be
Yeah,
painful.
that's true. That's
But
true.
with
I
the
would
soft,
say lip
the
wax
soft
hurts
wax,
way more than a bikini.
yes, I would agree with that. Getting your upper lip waxed to me is more painful than a bikini wax. I agree with you.
I've done that. I've done my
So-
eyebrow.
Yeah. So okay. So you've done eyebrows. I have as well. I guess I should have included that. I've done like, facial waxing. But yeah, I would say like the main reason why I didn't like waxing wasn't because of the pain of it. It was because of the pain after. Like, first of all, my skin was a little bit sore because it is. I mean, it's kind of traumatic. It's like for my skin, but like I got like razor burn essentially. But I get razor burn like if I look at my skin weird when I'm shaving. It's like just because I'm so sensitive. So if that's not you, if you don't really have super sensitive skin, you might love it because the actual waxing part, it's not pleasant, but it's not terrible. And for a lot of people, they prefer that because a lot of people feel like it lasts longer. I just didn't feel that way, but that's mainly because my hair is really dark and my skin is very fair. So like even if I've shaved my legs, it looks like there's hair there because there's like all these little black dots. So, I just feel like there's not really a point for me. But I would say try it if you're interested at all because it's not as painful as you would think.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested, and my friend has one that she loves, so I might just go with her and I don't know, go out to lunch or something afterwards. I was something
Yeah, well, and
I got a
usually,
story for you, Candy. When it gets to me, I got some things to tell you.
usually if you go to someone and you tell them it's your first time, They'll walk you through it, and that's what I did my first time. I was like, "Hey, can you just let me know? Like, I need facts. I need logic and step by step, so that way I can like, you know, think my way through this." And that's what we did, and it helped me. So that way, the next time, because I did go a couple of times, I really gave it a good college try. Like, I was gonna like do the thing, but I ended up deciding not to go back. But
I gotta get over the fear of the pain, and then I gotta get over my own like insecurity of like someone's head down there that isn't somebody I like.
It's not your
normally
gynecologist.
yeah, that is another odd part of it. I thankfully, because I had worked at a spa, like I didn't go to anyone that I worked with, because I was like, especially because there was a weird power situation there. Like, I was their landlord essentially. I was like, I'm not gonna. This is weird. So I went to someone else. But because I've had conversations with them, the people that I worked with so much, they're just like, this is literally like looking at a toe. I mean, we see so like all they do all day is like wax people, and the majority of them are bikini waxes. So they're really, really professional, and if they're not, then you report them and leave. But
I looked it up real quick, Candy, and the place that I go to is called European Wax Center, and your first bikini wax is free, and there is one in San Diego.
I've heard of them.
So if you want to try it for free, just to kind of try it and see if you like it.
I mean, it is summer, so I guess I will. The winter, but summer, I've been spending like every day at the pool. I guess I gotta go.
Yeah. Well, keep us posted on that if you want to. I know you might not.
I got some pointers for you when it comes to me. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Oh no, I have no problem letting y'all know. Next episode, you're gonna be back.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, awesome. Let's bounce over to Christian then. Christian, let's talk about lashes. Have you ever done a lash lift or had lash extensions?
I have not, but I'm gonna agree with Candy. Maybe like a wedding kind of thing. I think the lash lift sounds really interesting. I've just heard a lot of horror stories about lash extensions that I'm like, I think I'm good on that one.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I don't think I'm ever going to do lash extensions. So, what about hair extensions? Have you ever dabbled in hair extensions before?
I have. I did dabble a little bit. I did the traditional like, oh, it's prom. So I got like hair extensions down to like my mid back, and
I love it.
All pushed to the side in these big gorgeous curls, and wore them for one night and was like, I will never do that again. It made my head feel heavy. I don't know, guys. My hair is hair, and I'll let it be what it is.
I love that. You should. I like your hair for what it's worth.
Thank you.
I really like your hair. So.
I like it too. Sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, our hair always does things that we don't want it to do, but.
Yes.
But yes. So you've tried hair extensions. That's exciting. Have you done any waxing anywhere?
Yes, I have. So I've mentioned before, I'm Cuban. I'm hairy. Like, it's just a thing. It's how I live my life. So from like my early teen years, I've done eyebrow waxing. Early on, I actually got something done called electrolysis. For those of you who don't know what that is, they stick a very tiny needle into the hair follicle and they zap it. They put electricity through the needle, and it's supposed to kill your hair follicle. I think that helped some with my unibrow specifically. I think it's a lot thinner than it would have been if I hadn't got that done, but it did not take them all away. So I continue to do eyebrow waxing. I recently decided it was time to wax my mustache. For a long time, I just tried bleaching it, and then eventually I just realized, you know what? Like, now you just have a blonde mustache. So
that's fantastic.
It's one of those things. Like, I tried so hard to be like, no, if it's blonde, it's fine. And then eventually I was like, okay, we'll just rip it all off. But it's unfortunately one of those things where, like, once you do it, you have to keep doing it because the hair grows back and it's dark and it's very obvious. So I've done all the facial waxing, the typical facial waxing. I've also done a bikini wax professionally. I had 3 of them done. It was a little awkward because the lady's husband actually worked with my boyfriend, my fiance. So I was like, oh, cool. Like, you get to see my lady part. This is fun. Please don't talk to your husband about my vagina, which I'm sure she doesn't. Like Carly said, I think, and I talked to her about it too, and she said the same thing. She's like, I do this every day, so many times a day. None of it really phases me anymore.
Right.
And that one was one where the first time I went, I was so terrified. I was like, this is going to hurt so bad, that when she actually started, I was like, oh, this is what it's like. Oh, I could do this. This is fine. So I thought it was a positive experience for me. I have a lot of body hair everywhere. So it's one of those things where I feel like it's a really good bet for me. Because the first time it took like 2 weeks for my hair to grow back. I was like, this is the best thing ever. And then the second time, my body was like, you know what? We're not going to do anything that we did last time. We're going to have hair grow back in like 3 days, and we're going to make this whole thing pointless, which is why I went back and tried one more time. The same thing. I don't know why. If somebody's watching this that can explain that to me, please do. Because the third time I went back, it was the same thing. My hair grew back so fast compared to the first time. And so now, is it something I would do again? Yes. Is it something I've tried at home? Yes. We'll tell you right now, have somebody else do it to you. Because it's a lot worse when you're sitting there like, why am I doing this to myself? Cursing in your bathroom, trying to like rip wax strips off. It's just not fun. But yeah, so for people like Candy who haven't done it before, I honestly, it's one of those things where I was almost glad I was so afraid of it, because when I went in, it was like, oh, why was I even so scared of this? It doesn't hurt nearly as bad as I thought it would. But I also had my wax lady tell me that I should never do anything beyond a bikini wax. So if that tells anybody about the kind of hair I have on my body, she was like, you'll hate yourself. I'll hate you. You'll hate me. Like, she's like, don't stick with bikini waxes, please. So if anybody is out there that has a lot of like coarse body hair, it's okay for you to not go all the way to something like a Brazilian. You need to do what feels best for your body and what's going to make you feel most comfortable if you choose to do those kind of procedures. So I just want to say that as a little PSA. And I do plan on getting laser hair removal on a couple different parts of my body. So when that gets done, I'll make sure to let you guys know how that goes.
Yes, I would love to hear updates on that.
Yeah.
Just because I've never had that. I was familiar with electrolysis just because I had someone in my spa who did electrolysis.
Okay.
But I've never had it done. So
yeah,
that's really cool.
Well, laser hair removal scares me a little bit because you have to like shave the area first. And just for me, like Carly said, my skin doesn't react the best to like shaving. So I'm like, great, cool. But yeah, that's one I'm actually looking forward to.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't shave very often for that reason. Like I'll shave my legs and they'll be shaved, and then I pretty much let my hair grow all the way back in, and then I shave it again. Not all the way to where it's like curled, but like to where it's like not prickly anymore. It's like a nice soft.
It's got like some softness to it.
Yeah, pretty much. Like not every single time, but I try to, just because for some reason doing it that way makes me not break out, and I'm fine with it. So y'all should be. And that's what matters. Yeah, it is what matters. So, but that's fantastic, Christian. Thank you for sharing. I'm going to bounce over to Haley. Haley, let's talk about lashes. I know you've already talked about this on a previous episode, so I'll just let you recap for the listeners about listeners about lashes.
Yeah, lash lift. No, I haven't done that. I feel like just probably in the last 1 to 2 years, I've really been getting into makeup, and I got my lash extensions probably 2.5 years ago because they were doing, these trainees were coming to the end of their time. They needed more hours, so it was like heavily discounted. So I went with a friend and we got it done. And kind of like Carly said, you sit there for a long time with that. You can't really open your eyes, and they try to make it enjoyable. But if you're somebody who doesn't sit still for that long, then it's probably not the best thing to do. I personally hated them. I thought that they didn't really give, unless you're willing to spend $200 or more, they didn't really give me any kind of fullness. You couldn't put mascara on them. You had to clean them with a specific cleaner, and then when they started coming out, they come out in like different clumps, and to me it was just hell having it. So excuse my language, but I would never do it again. And I looked at the prices recently just to see, because from what I paid to what it is, like for real, for a full out one is like over $200, and then it's like 60 something to get them done like every 2 weeks. So I mean, it's so much money, and it's every like 2 weeks too. So if you think about that, like you get your nails done, we're just talking about getting nails done, and there's a fill about every 2 to 3 weeks. But a fill, I mean, is like 40 or less, probably less, because it's like 40 to get them done. So I just feel like the prices for it just aren't really worth what I received, especially because I couldn't wear mascara. And I don't know, I just feel like mascara completes a look, personally.
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, I understand, like, I don't put mascara on my false lashes, but I do put, like, I'll curl my lashes, and I'll put a little bit of mascara on my lashes, and then I'll put the false lashes on. But the false lashes look like they have mascara on them, basically, so you don't need them. But if they don't, then it's kind of like, this is weird. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Tell us and tell the listeners about hair extensions.
Yes, because Carly knows. I did dabble with those in college. But I actually bought the clip-in ones from Sally's, the Euronext brand, and I dyed them. So I dyed my hair and the extensions out of box, the same color. And then basically you part your hair in different sections. You would twist a piece of hair, clip it on the twist, and you would have like 4 large pieces that had 3 clips, and then like little clips on the sides. And so it would really fill out your hair. And then there was like 18, 22 inch, whatever. So I did that. I did not need them. I had super thick hair. It was really stupid of me to even have them. If you slept in them, it would hurt. They could pull hair out. So it could be very damaging to your hair. I've seen in series like Queer Eye and type makeover ones, that ladies that have used a lot of clip-in extensions can actually cause bald spots. So I wouldn't say to like heavily use them really. But now that my hair is like a lot thinner, I mean, I feel like I still don't really necessarily need them. Let me just preface, like, I feel like I have very thick hair compared to some people who may want thicker hair, and they just don't. And I should be thankful for what I have, but I have lost probably half the thickness in my hair just from being sick. And so I bought extensions recently. Well, I don't know. Christian, what was that, like 2 years ago, maybe? So you helped me dye them, I think.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. Yeah,
it was right after my diagnosis, right after I started losing all the hair. And so I put them in for a while just to get my confidence back up, but I haven't touched them since. So for clip-in ones, they're nice. I mean, if you have an event where you just want to throw some clip-in ones real quick to give you a little bit more hair, then they're kind of a little bit more affordable. I think it's like $100 for them, between 100 and 160, and then dyeing to like match your hair. But that's about it. Yeah, I haven't tried any other kind of extensions. I would be willing to, because the clip-ins like aren't as comfortable.
Yeah, I want to try a halo extension really badly. I talked to like a lot of people I talked to who used them, loved them, and all the people that I've talked to, like I talked to a couple of different hairstylists and who don't have experience with them, and they're like, I'm scared they would slip. But every person I've talked to that has used them says that they don't slip. So I really want to try them, and I know that I think there were some like really inexpensive options, like in comparison, you know. I don't remember the brands, but if I ever start using those, or if any of you ever start using those, we can maybe do a whole episode about that, but I don't know anything about them.
Yeah. Maybe I have to look into it.
Yeah. But
yeah. So as for waxing, so I go to European Wax Center, as I mentioned a little bit ago. I have been getting my eyebrows done for a very long time. I always felt like they were too much. They're really not. It's just that we were told thin eyebrows were in back then. Right. And everybody wanted to rip their hair out to be thin. Okay. So I pretty much only get them done now to just keep a certain shape, not to actually make them thinner, and to trim them. So if it wasn't for trimming them, I would pluck them, honestly. I love the quickness of waxing, but just for the cost of it, I would love to learn how to trim my own, because mine grow so freaking fast. I go every 2 weeks. I purchased the European Wax Centers like yearly pass thing. So you spend a certain amount of money and then you can go as many times as you want for the whole year.
Oh,
and I did that
cool.
for the eyebrows. And it was amazing because I could, if I had an event, I could just book an appointment on the app real quick. Go. It was already paid for. The only thing I had to do was tip. So well worth it. I'll probably do it again. Just like I said, my hair grows really fast when it comes to that. Not this, which is rude. Okay.
How it
Saying.
goes.
But yes, so I go every 2 weeks to get my eyebrows done. I love the lady that I have at European Wax Center. She's awesome. She fills in my brows for me, so I don't even have to do that. I've had a bikini wax, so I went to European Wax Center for the first time to get a free one. And I went with my sister-in-law, so we did it together. And I was like Christian, I was super nervous. I get really bad razor burn. And I get in that area, not on my legs. So I shave my legs and my armpits, no problem. I don't get those waxed. But in that area, I get really bad razor burn, and I will have problems with ingrown hairs. So that is why I turned to waxing, because I actually did have better results. I didn't break out. In that area, I broke out on my lip, so I stopped getting that waxed. But I have done the Brazilian. I did it for my honeymoon, and then I've done it for just because I actually enjoy doing it to lessen the amount of ingrown hairs and that razor burn. The more you do it, the less it hurts. It's like your body gets used to it. The hair, it takes it easier out. And so I stopped getting it for a while, and I went back and I was like, oh, holy crap. Did it hurt like this the first time? I'm like sweating. My adrenaline's pumping, So I would say if you're going to do it regularly, then make sure you're still going regularly. I think I went once a month, maybe, if that, once every 6 weeks, maybe. Don't go on your period. Don't go a week before your period.
Yep.
Yeah, because you're too sensitive and it'll hurt more. They have like lotions and serums, like Carly said, to kind of help with the razor burn, and the ingrown hair serum actually does help with keeping those away. So I do need to go purchase some more of that. But the only thing that's stopping me from getting them regularly is the cost. I mean, it's like $60 to $80 for that, $20 for the eyebrows. If you want a lip wax, that's like $10, $15, something like that. And you're like, did I really just drop $200 at a waxing place and I got to do it again in a few weeks? So right now I only get my eyebrows done. Yeah.
I'm with you there on the ingrown hairs, at least. That is true. I did not have any ingrown hair problems, but that was the only thing that was different. But I don't get ingrown hairs enough to for it to have, you know what I mean? But I did notice that I, it doesn't, obviously, because there's no, it rips your hair out, the follicle. So.
Yes. And I'm the type of person who was like super nervous to be like, spread you out on this table, ready for them to rip hair out of me, right? But we go to our gynecologist like it's nothing. I go to a guy gynecologist, so I have him and a female nurse in there. So I got two people looking up there. So I was like, okay, let me just act like I'm at a doctor's appointment. Like, why am I so ashamed? I shouldn't be. She has one too. Like she sees them all day long. There's nothing wrong with it. So I was very nervous for pain and just to let myself be open to it, but I really did enjoy them, honestly.
Yeah, and I'm proud of you for doing that because, our culture, with this Western culture that we live in, a lot of where we live, whether or not you're religious or not or whatever, a lot of what we experience with our culture is a lot of the purity and shame culture. And I say that as somebody who grew up in a church and who still considers himself to be a Christian person. So I'm not necessarily hating on religious people. I am a religious person, but I do think that it's a big problem, whenever if we as women or men go into an establishment, a place to have a procedure done, whether it's a doctor's office, because there are some people who feel ashamed in doctor's offices too. And that whole shame, the culture of shame around sex and our bodies and
yes,
all of it is just it's just gross and it's very damaging. And so I'm really proud of you for being able to self-talk yourself into feeling brave in that moment, whether or not you wanted to feel brave or whether or not you even felt brave, but like you did it. I think that that's amazing. And for everyone out there who's listening, if that's your story, or if you're ashamed to go to the doctor or to go get a wax because, not because you're like, oh, I don't want to be naked or whatever, but because you feel ashamed of being like, oh my gosh, like they're like looking at me and like I don't know what to do and like blah. I just want to invite you into a place of acceptance and to know that there is no shame in your body and you don't have to be ashamed of your body or being in a procedure like that. So I'll stop there because I could talk for years.
I know,
about that.
right? Same.
But
yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, like the first time I ever went to the gynecologist, I don't know if I was like fully expecting 100% of what was happening. And so just for people out there with girls who haven't been to their first one, like maybe help explain to them what may be happening. I'm not going to go into all the details in case we have some like younger listeners, but just, help people out, like be that person that gives, knowledge into what's happening, or like Carly said, just being there for somebody if they're feeling a little bit less brave about going to a doctor. I know Christian has sat in a gynecologist's office with me behind me, so she wasn't in front of me, but because I had to have an emergency appointment because there was an issue that I was concerned about that caused an abnormal pap smear. And so she was in there, like basically holding my hand while the doctors were down there looking. So find people like that. Yeah, that's what friends are for. Find people like that. Find your support. There's people out there that are going through the same things as you.
And I'm going to do a little shout out for all my people who might have triggers, whether it's due to trauma or whatever, with that, like being exposed and all of that stuff. The gynecologist, the waxing place, whatever brings that up for you. Talk to your doctor about that. Talk to your waxing consultant about that. Let them know where you are. So when they do touch you, if it's the gynecologist who needs to do an exam, they know what your triggers are. They know what you're okay with, what you're not okay with. If you need like them to say, okay, I'm going to touch you now, whatever your triggers are, whatever you need to be comfortable, like ask for it, tell them. And if they don't want to do it, then you need to leave and find somebody else.
Exactly.
That's not normal.
100%.
I think it's important to find a good doctor, and Haley learned that through her journey of discovering she was diabetic. But it's true for people like Candy said. And I don't know if everybody feels this way, but that's why I would say actually go to a gynecologist. I was one of those people that always went to clinics for like my yearly female exam. And I finally decided I think a gynecologist is where women need to go because they specialize in what they're doing. And they probably see a lot more of what Candy's talking about. And I appreciate you, Candy, for bringing that up. I really do. I think that's an important message for people to hear.
I agree. I'll add this though. If you are in a situation where, because I don't have insurance, I know a lot of people don't have insurance, and sometimes that's a cost that you just can't take. I really want to recommend going to Planned Parenthood 100%. If you're in that situation, because they have so many different healthcare, like anything that you need, really, honestly. But if you need a pap smear, or if you just need any type of exam, if you need anything, you can go to Planned Parenthood and they will take care of you. And they have an in-house pharmacy. So it's just great. And they have a great program to where it is income based. So even if you're laid off right now and you really need to go in for your yearly, but you don't have a job because of COVID, you can go to Planned Parenthood, show them proof that you don't have a job or proof of whatever your income is, and they will tailor your cost based on your income, and you will get full comprehensive health care right there for a discounted rate. And sometimes it's as little as $30 to $50 for the whole thing.
Amazing. That's amazing.
I would go and talk to them, and they're the most compassionate caregivers I've ever been to in a clinic. So
Planned Parenthood asks trans inclusive questions. They will address you by your pronouns. They will address you by the name that you choose. If you are trans, it's not an issue to go there. They will 100% be supportive and what you need in your healthcare for that, because there are people that have vaginas that are not women. So they're great for that. And my gynecologist didn't ask any of those questions. Planned Parenthood also asked me if I had any trauma. My gynecologist did not. And it's just lack of being aware that they needed to, not because they were my care wasn't like bad, but it was compromised because they didn't ask those questions, and it makes it really like not accessible for people. So
I apologize then for recommending.
No, that's okay. I mean, that's your experience, Christian. So
like,
you don't have to apologize for that. But
yeah, like I it just depends, because like Christian said, I had a horrible first doctor when it came to my diabetes, endocrinologist type boy that didn't listen to me and didn't care, versus the one I have now. But like, shout out to Dr. Montero, my gynecologist, because he's the one that found my diabetes, and it's not even his job to find it. So honestly, he's the one who saved my life. And so if you can't afford it, Planned Parenthood 100%. But if you have insurance and you want to go to a gynecologist, be okay with not seeing the same one every time. Find the right one. Find the doctor who cares. Find the doctor who will ask those questions and who will really care about your health. And maybe health that's not exactly their 100% their job too, like me.
Yeah, and I want to add on to that too, that if you do go to Planned Parenthood and you tell them like, hey, I'm wanting to figure out if I could find a gynecologist that's right for me, they will help refer you to somebody. They did that for me before. So I can't really say enough good things about Planned Parenthood. It's just a really, really great organization, and they will help you for cost. But I don't think that it's wrong though, Christian, to believe that, you need to find a good gynecologist, because I think you should. But I also just want to speak to, I don't really know where our listeners are at, if they're at a place where they can do that or not. And I know for some people, it's hard to come to terms with paying over $200 for an appointment if you don't have the money. Whereas, at Planned Parenthood, you can pay sometimes $30 to $50 for the same care. But I will say Planned Parenthood was the only doctor I've ever been to that asked me if the relationship I was in was safe. They asked me, about the current, my current, whenever they were talking to me about like all the preliminary questions. That's one of the things they wanted to make sure I was in a safe relationship, and that, I was being in a situation that was healthy, which I've never had a doctor ask me that before, and ask me if I was afraid to go back to where, to go back home with this person. And when they talk about sex, they ask you like, is this all consensual? Like, do you need to find a safe place? And it's just above and beyond. I've never experienced that elsewhere.
Well,
so
I'm glad y'all talked about it, because if I was a listener, this would all be new news to me. I feel like in my mind, Planned Parenthood is stigmatized around the whole
it is
abortion thing and
it
that
is.
kind of stuff. So I'm glad you guys are sharing it. I had no idea that they were this amazing.
Yeah, they really get a bad rap because, like I mentioned before, our society has kind of been dominated, unfortunately, by certain ideologies. And, they do get a really, really bad rap, but they do so much more than provide abortion healthcare, which, I mean, that's an important aspect of healthcare that they provide, but they provide so much more than that. And a lot of people don't know about it. So yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad you guys are putting it out there for people like me that didn't know.
Yeah, well, and that's great.
Because you might be met with protesters because they don't know. So, I mean, I went in and I was getting my birth control taken out because it was going to be $3,000 at my OB.
Oh my God.
My parent did it for $30,000. So literally $3,000 to become pregnant, for the record. And I still had people throwing like baby dolls at me saying I was a murderer and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So just be prepared. If like you go in, there will most likely be. But the security there is amazing. You go through a metal detector. You have to have an appointment. Like you have a security guard that meets you on the outside. They have people that walk you in, so you're not alone through that. But you will be met with people that don't understand what Planned Parenthood is.
Yeah. That's true.
Unfortunately, that's unfortunately the world we've lived in and the type of leaders we've had who've made decisions for us. And yeah, I feel like that we could do a whole episode on Planned Parenthood, and I would totally be okay with that.
Yeah, maybe we will.
Yeah,
listeners,
sexual rights.
If you want to hear, let us know in the comments of YouTube if that's something that you would like to know, because there are a lot of people who just don't know all of what Planned Parenthood does, and that could be really helpful to people, especially for those who maybe can't afford to go with insurance, because we all know how great that is in our country as well. I won't go off on that tangent though. I want to go back on a little bit here and just, point out steps that you guys can do to support Black-owned, beauty businesses by searching for salons and spas that are Black-owned in some of these areas that we talked about, lash lifts, lash extensions, waxing, hair extensions, et cetera, et cetera. Do some research. See if you can find one in your area that's a Black-owned business, right? Especially right now, but in the future as well, and, kind of help support in that we talked about earlier in this episode as well. So if you don't have a place that you regularly go to, or you're looking for a new place, then this is definitely an opportunity to maybe do a little bit of research and, just be intentional about where you're going and who you're being a client for. Because as we learned recently with a certain clothing company, Shein, that I have purchased from, they had a swastika necklace on their website. And as a person, but especially as a Jewish person, I definitely will never be buying anything from their website ever again. So just be intentional about where you're putting your money, basically, is my little PSA there. Next, though, I want to talk about lip fillers, Botox, any kind of injections, just those types of things. And I know that, we may or may not have had any of this done, but also just kind of give your opinions on whether or not you would do some of these things. Also, I'd like to point out that, we don't have it on our list, but tattoos is another outer beauty thing that I do personally. Tattoos make me feel beautiful and confident, and I just express myself through them, and they put memories and stories of my life on my body. So if you're like me, then, comment in YouTube comments and let me know. But I know that we didn't kind of throw that in there because you don't really consider it as a beauty item. I didn't either, but I was just sitting here thinking about the things that I do or the things that make me feel beautiful, and tattoos is one of them. So I wanted to throw it in there real quick. But as for Botox, lip fillers, all that kind of stuff, I've never done any of it. I personally would do lip fillers because I feel like my top lip is so thin. I really don't hate my bottom lip, but I hate my top lip. And I feel like when I'm putting on lipstick, I constantly will get it out on the outside of my lips, on the top only. And to be 100%, I'm not going to do it because I've heard a lot of horror stories about when you stop going and how your lips look deflated, and, how often you have to go and the price. So I'm not going to do it, but I'm just going to learn to love this thin little lip up top and maybe learn how to line it better and all that through me and my makeup instead of adding anything into it. But that's just personally me. I'm not one who wants to really change anything procedural wise, although to TMI, to be frank, I would definitely get my boobs smaller. So reductions, I'm down for that. As we get older, people do the mommy makeover, which I think is great. Whatever you want to do that makes you feel beautiful and confident, you don't have to do it, you can do it. I'm not ever going to be a mom by choice, but I wouldn't mind doing some of those things that is included in the mommy makeover. So maybe one day. But Christian, what about you? Lip fillers, Botox, any kind of injection type work?
I haven't gotten anything done, but I was pointing at myself for all of our listeners because I agree with you. I feel like my bottom lip is so nice and my top lip is thin in comparison. Literally every time I watch myself on these on YouTube, I'm like, oh my God, my lip. I don't know why it's such a thing for me, but I'm literally on the same page with you because I don't think I would get it done. I was just watching a YouTuber who had it done, and she was talking about how she feels like her lips look deflated now that it's worn off. And it's an upkeep thing. Again, I don't want to have to keep doing it to not feel like my body looks worse, if that makes sense. I might consider doing Botox, my forehead. I feel like my forehead from the middle of my eyebrows up is aging so fast. So I could see at some point maybe getting Botox done up there. Maybe for my wedding even, another just something nice to do. And I did want to say my mom gets Botox, and the only reason I bring that up is because she actually gets Botox for migraine relief.
Yeah,
So,
I've heard of that. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it does help her some. Her migraines are different, as everyone's migraines are different, but for any of our listeners or viewers who have migraines, maybe something to talk to your doctor about and consider to improve your mental and physical health, not just for your beauty.
Yeah, for sure. I think the other thing that is great about lip fillers is that it takes those lines away. You know what I'm talking about? When you wear like a really dry lipstick and you can see the lines. And it's very smooth
like
with lip
fault
fillers.
lines.
Let me tell you, they call my name every now and then. I'm like, maybe I should look how much they cost. But then the whole deflating thing, I'm like, yeah, I don't really want to look like I have flat lips either. So
Right, exactly.
I don't know. Maybe one day, but in all honesty, who knows at this point?
Yeah.
Candy, what about you? If you've done them, thought of them, anything like that?
No, so I've never like thought about lip fillers, mainly because I put on lipstick today and I was like, my lips look too fat. I took it off. I don't know. And like I don't even have that thick of lips, but like I'm fine with them the way they are. I wouldn't want them any bigger or smaller. The wrinkles though, the wrinkles would be nice to go away because I don't know. I guess I feel like I have wrinkly lips and they always kind of look dry because of it, but it's never even crossed my mind really before. I would love to do the mommy makeover though. A breast reduction might be nice. I'm a triple D and my back is killing me
girl,
like all the time. Or like at least a lift. So I feel like it's not like my back doing all the work. I've had 2 kids and breastfed both of them, so they're not awful, but they're not where they used to be either. Just getting like that back. Botox I've never really thought of, but I have wanted to do like my bags right here. They're not like bags. They're like, it's like just not filled in, and I want to get like filler there. So it would so like half my face.
Yeah, I've heard of those too.
Yeah, I had a friend that did it, and she did her chin here because she had a chin that like you could have more like a flat. I don't feel like I had that. I feel like I've gained weight, so my face looks bigger than I'm used to. But like that's the diet, whatever. But like this I've had for like years, and it's always just been like super self-conscious. Like I'm like, oh, like my makeup looks really good, except for like right here, like it catches everything, and it's not dark. It's just like an indent. So that's where I would start. I don't think I'd put my money into lips or Botox just yet, or really ever for lips, honestly. I don't know about Botox yet. I'm not against it.
Yeah. I mean, this stuff is not for everyone. And the people who do it and love it, it's amazing. Like, I just want to point out, you can love yourself either way. It's okay to want to change things. It's okay to not want to change things. And I think it's beautiful that you've nursed these babies. And so if you want to go ahead and get that mommy makeover, like, do it. And I feel your pain, girl, because people just don't understand how painful these can be, how difficult it is to buy clothing with these things.
Oh my, you have to wear a bra because like it's not like a matter of like, oh, my boobs are too like it hurts if you don't wear a bra. It hurts. It's not like, oh, I'm too self-conscious about it. It's like, no, like I can't like hop, run, nothing, skip. No. There's like walk is a lot. And I just want to wear this stuff that you don't have to wear a bra with, and I can't do it. And I've done the dresses, I've done the tape, and nothing holds up. I can't dance it. And I don't know.
It's frustrating. I feel your pain. Like bralettes are just a no-go. Anything with buttons, they'll just the buttons will just open. V-necks are, it's just a little too much for me personally in my view of myself, but
I had to wear a button up for my job when I was a server in Boston, and the button would pop like every time. I'd be talking to people, and then just like, and then like I had my name tag like come off with it, and I'm just like, sure, it fits me. I promise. Like it's not bad. Like I don't know what else to tell you.
So well, I feel your pain in that.
The summer bathing suits suck. Like
yes,
a lot.
Can't buy anything. Small, medium, large in bathing suits, by the way, extra large and all that. Like I hate it, but let me buy a bathing suit in my bra size. Okay. Yeah. I need it to fit, so I need a size. Small, medium, large is different to everybody. There is so many different body shapes that could be a small. It's not the same. So quit
And
doing
how many small
art.
bikinis have a top that's like this
Oh my
big?
God,
Like, that's not gonna cover my nipple. Like
exactly. I'm like, what is that supposed to be? A Barbie? Like, I don't.
And it comes up if you're like actually swimming and not just laying by the pool like that.
Yeah.
Like it goes up when you jump in. The force of the water goes and it comes up. You can't do nothing in it. You'd constantly be adjusting. Like, I want to have fun in the pool. Like, I got one from Target that's really good, and it's like a bra. But like, bras are also not as cute. Bathing suits are not as cute. You have to really pay a lot of money for them to be cute, or supportive, and you can't really have both. Like, t-shirt bras don't exist for me. I haven't found one that I like.
Definitely
Like, and then there's the push-up bras that make my boobs look nice, but then they're kind of spilling out because the push-up bra is like not exactly. I don't need a push-up bra, but it has the support I need. So it's like, that would be my thing. I don't know. I don't know if I would do just a lift, if I would get a reduction, if I would just get like a boob job with like fake boobs, but like in a size that I like manageable, like go down to a C, or just like a regular D, even a double D, just a size down.
Yeah, just a little smaller.
I would love it if lifts didn't leave such terrible scars, because I would totally get a lift. But again, the whole like anchor scar thing, that's a lot.
Yeah, because
I haven't even looked at it, but I don't.
It goes like
more.
down and under and.
I don't think by now.
I need medical technology to improve a little bit before I go doing anything like that. And I wanted to say, I didn't mention small bathing suits to shame anybody. I get that that's what they need too. I just agree with Haley about sizes.
Like, there's just so many different body sizes that like all of us got this shirt in a medium. Like we're gonna wear a medium shirt when Christians and Carly's finally get here. But like our body shapes and stuff are different because we're different people and we're just made differently. So we can all wear a medium and not look the same. So like the little triangles do not have to all be the same size if they're all a small.
Exactly.
But we were also like, what kind of medium is it? Is it a medium like women's? Is it large? Is it unisex? If it's unisex, what kind of unisex is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, most of the time because of these, I buy shirts in the men's section because they're just more comfortable. Like women's shirts tend to be thinner on the sides and just very tight, in my opinion. Once again, I've gotten us off on a nice little tangent. But that's okay. People hopefully will enjoy and relate to some of these issues. And if you do, let us know. But I wanted to hear from Carly on lip fillers, Botox, any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I've never gotten any. I don't foresee getting any. Only because I'm just like, yeah, my face is great. I'm just gonna keep my face.
I love your lips. I think they're such a great shape. Personally.
Oh, thanks. I like them. They work nice. No, but yeah, I like to experiment with makeup when it comes to my lips. And I will say that if you are wanting to have a more fuller look with your lips, there are ways that you can achieve that with like lip liner and highlighter and fun stuff. We can talk about that if that's something that, y'all want to learn about. But no, I have not gotten any of these procedures. Yeah, so we'll see. I do think that maybe at some point, like once I've had kids, I could better answer the boob question. Right now, my boobs are like, they're right. They are where they are, and like, it's cool. So maybe like later, like once I, because mine aren't incredibly big or anything. Like I don't have pain from them, although it is uncomfortable sometimes if I don't wear a bra and I'm like active. Like that doesn't feel great. But I mean, I'm cool with it. So I don't think that I would do any of these things. I do want to say, I just want to echo what Haley said earlier about choosing where you are a client, because that's a really great way to be intentional about where your support is going. I would also recommend that anyone who's interested in any of these beauty procedures that we talked about, that you go with a beauty professional that is adequately licensed, and that you can trust, and that you can ask questions and you can do your research and feel like they're collaborating with you. Because, you know, if you're going to make a major cosmetic healthcare decision, because it is a health decision, if you're going to make that kind of decision, you want to have somebody who's taking it seriously, who has a good track record. And if you're doing something like this is one of those things that you want to invest in yourself. Do not do it if it's cheap. Do not do it. Do not do any type of augmentation to your body or Botox or anything if it's a super, super cheap thing, because chances are it's not going to be what it needs to be. And you can't put a price tag on your safety and your health, because you matter and we need you to stick around for a long time. And we don't want you to be in unnecessary pain from a botched procedure.
Because
So
even if the
please,
procedure goes perfectly, things can still happen.
yes. So please do your research. And I also want to say, for anyone who's listening to this, and let's say you're a teenager or you're a young adult and you are seeking all these body changes because you're unhappy with yourself, please, please, please talk to your doctor. If you can't trust your parents or whatever, that's fine. Talk to your doctor about it, especially if we're talking about anything that's really invasive, like, you know, Botox injection is one thing. But if you're thinking about getting a breast augmentation, or if you are trans and you're wanting to do surgery, you're wanting a top surgery or a bottom surgery, and you don't really know where to start and you're looking online and blah blah blah, find a doctor that you trust, no matter the cosmetic procedure that this is, because it's just, you can't, when it comes to your health and your body, it's too important to just kind of like use a Groupon, you know what I mean? So with that, I wanted to say that in case we have anybody who's listening who is younger, because that's kind of, it's a different thing to want to have augmentations to your body when you're like 15, 16 years old versus when you're like 30. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you need to go through that experience
Still
with a
growing
doctor.
too. Like
You
you're
need,
still
yeah,
growing, maturing.
your doctor will know what's best
Yeah.
for you, and you can talk to your doctor about that. You can talk to your mental health care professional about that. I don't want people to hear this podcast and then like get excited and go do a procedure based on what we say and not get the health care that they need, especially if they're transitioning, or especially if you're in a situation where you're just wanting to change your body without, you know, having guidance to keep you safe, because you matter. So I just wanted to say that before we got too deep in, and I didn't want anyone to run with that who's listening and have us not say that. So do your research, find a doctor you trust, make sure that you understand what you agree to before going forward with any procedure. So yeah, I just wanted to say that that is the part. I think we're kind of to the end of this outer beauty transition part, and we're going to transition into inner beauty. For those of you who are listening, we talked about this at the beginning. We're going to talk about the things that we've done that is inner work, right? We just talked about a bunch of outer work that we could do, a bunch of outer things. But we do want to talk about inner work, what we've done individually that has really illuminated our inner beauty and helped us to be who we were meant to be. Because I'm sure a lot of you know a lot of people out there who are gorgeous people, and then they turn around and then they say something really, really, really ugly, and you're like, your insides don't match your outsides, and that's hard. And we just want all of us to have insides that match our outsides. Because, you know, like, there's so much going on. There's too much bad stuff in the world for us to not, like, we need to evolve more as humans. Because, like we should be past this part as far as, like, bullying and being rude to people. But I do want to highlight that a lot of it comes from places within us that need to be better, right? If we're not living to our fullest extent of who we are, and not all of that's our fault. You know, you're only in control of what you're in control of, right? But I just do want to give all of us an opportunity to talk about this part, because there is a whole lot that I know I've done, and I know that a lot of people in the world are doing to become more beautiful people on the inside. And not just for other people, not just for the sake of the world, but also for the sake of yourself, because you're worth it. Like, you are worth doing the work to really show your true beauty. And so I just want to talk about that a little bit. And I do want to hear from you all as well, if there are any people who are influential to your journey in this, whether they're, in pop culture or whether they're like people that you know. So I will start with me, just for our listeners' sake and for y'all's sake. A lot of the work that I've been doing, inner work, has been, I've been through a lot in my life. And, I know we all have in different ways, and trauma is weird. Trauma, you can't compare your trauma to someone else's, because your body and your mind, you respond in different ways. So, I just know that for me and my own story, I've been through a lot for what I've experienced. And two big pieces for me that have really changed who I am and how I respond to people and how I see the world. The first one is forgiveness. This is a big one for me because I grew up really religious, and so forgiveness was something that I used to be like forced to like do, because it was just the right thing. Like, you had to forgive people, and I always had a problem with that, because I as I became an adult, I was wronged in a lot of ways that didn't feel forgivable, and it was really hard to decide to forgive. And what led me there, um, to the journey of forgiveness, really, um, was understanding that forgiveness is for me and it's not necessarily for you. And most recently, there is a pastor actually who is fantastic, and she's not like usual pastors. She's kind of fun, but she said something that really shook me. And she said, when I'm forgiving you, when I'm forgiving somebody for wronging me, it's like there's a chain that's linking me to you and the effed up thing that you did. And forgiveness is me cutting off the chain and saying, what you did to me was so messed up that I'm no longer attaching myself to it. I'm absolving you of that, so that way you can go and live your life and I can live mine. Forgiveness is not necessarily like, saying, oh, it's okay, because it might not be okay. But forgiveness is deciding that from here on out, I'm going to detach you, whoever the perpetrator is. I'm detaching you from that narrative, and I'm moving forward. So that way I'm not dragging you around with me in my life anymore. And that has really helped me. And with that, I've forgiven a lot of people that have never even asked for forgiveness, but for my own sake, forgiven people who probably would never apologize or anything, but for doing it for my health, to say what you did was so messed up that I'm cutting that off of my life, and I'm letting you go live your life as your own self without me having to ever be a part of any connection to you again. And in some ways, forgiveness includes, forgiving people that you are connected with, right? Like, you don't have to necessarily cut everyone out of your life, but you can absolutely cut people out of your life. But I also have gotten better, at forgiveness when it comes to people that I love, and being able to say, I'm cutting off this thing that you did. I'm still keeping this relationship, but we're cutting that thing off. And in a healthy relationship, that's going to be a two-way street, and they're not going to continue to hurt you. So that's the first thing for me, forgiveness. That's really, really changed my outlook on life, and it's helped me love people better. It sucks, and I hate it. I hate forgiveness, but it's helped me become a better person for myself. And then the second thing is gratitude. Practicing gratitude has helped me a lot, because it gives me a perspective shift, and I'm really, really good at worrying. I'm a class A worrier, and I'm really good at seeing all the things that could go wrong. I like to have a plan for every scenario. I'm told that I overthink a lot of things. I'm very like high strung when it comes to that. I'm a 6 on the Enneagram, if any of you know what that is, who are listening. And so for me, gratitude has been a grounding practice because if I'm ever in those situations, this was actually something that my therapist had suggested that I sit and I practice gratitude. Um, so I'll do that often. If I'm ever in a situation that I can't control, it helps me if I sit and I practiced gratitude by like naming 3 things in that moment that I have gratitude for. And a lot of times it just helps shift my perspective to understand that, okay, all is not lost because I have these things. And it's a small thing, but making it a daily part to where, like, any time in the day, if I'm feeling anxious, I'll practice gratitude and it helps. So there's that. Those are the 2 things. There's a bunch more, but I won't mention. Those are like the 2 biggest parts for me. And then when it comes to people who've been influential, there's a lot. I'll say number 1, like my therapist. Find a good therapist. And if you go to a therapist that you can't talk to about, or you don't feel like they're right for you, they might be a great therapist, but they might not be your therapist. You can absolutely shop for therapists. That's great. And I really think everyone should have one, and that you should check in with it. Like, if nothing like traumatic on paper has happened to you in a year, you should have seen them maybe once or twice for the year. And if something traumatic has happened to you, I say traumatic in air quotes because that can mean anything, but or if you're working through something, then I advocate for, like, see them all the time, man. Like, and it's expensive and it's hard, but there are programs out there. There's betterhelp.com, which is still kind of hard, still kind of can be expensive because it puts you on a recurring plan. So if that's not in your budget, that might not be a thing for you. But I also recommend you check out Open Path Collective because that's a sliding scale therapy program that it helps you find therapists in your area that participate, and they will charge you based on what you earn. And so I was able to go to a therapist for a certain period of time that was like $20 a session, which usually it's about $100 to $200 a session. So that gives you an idea of how much of a discount you can have. It can be life-saving for you if you can afford $20 a session. So there's that. So my therapist is one. I also have just been really conscientious about who I follow on social media. It's okay to unfollow people. Like, if they're not doing it for you, even if they're a pop culture icon, don't follow them if they're not serving you and what you need as far as your mental health and everything. So some people who help me stay positive, I do follow there is a body positive model. She is like I don't want to say this wrong. She is a eating disorder like coach, and so she's all about body positivity, which I love and I've needed throughout the years. Positive self-talk. Her handle is fit, fat, and all that. Um, and she's just really positive, and I really, really enjoy her perspective on life. She's joyful. Another, excuse me, another person that I feel a lot of encouragement by, Jamila Jamil. I really feel like a lot of times, like, she just has positive messaging that makes me feel positive. Priyanka Jonas, she just married Nick Jonas. She's amazing. I follow her. She doesn't have as many posts anymore, really, that are like necessarily towards like positivity, but she is a very positive person, and I just really like what she stands for. Kristen Bell is another one. And then someone who I recently started following this year that has actually really given me this huge dose of positivity that really helps me reflect on who I am and making sure that I'm doing the work to um, cultivate my inner beauty is Amanda Klutz. She is a former Rockette. She, I believe, has been in some Broadway shows. She is the wife of the late Broadway actor Nick Cordero, who just passed away a couple of days ago from complications from COVID. Please wear a mask. But Amanda is just amazing. There are probably hundreds of people, so I'm going to stop there. But those are people who've helped me along my journey, and helped me become a better person, really. So that's me. I would love to bounce this over now to Candy. We'll start with you. Um, just things, and there's no right or wrong answer with this, y'all. There really isn't. Just whatever has helped you with like cultivate your inner beauty as a person, and maybe some people, if you want to share people who've inspired you along the way.
Oh, baby. Sorry, my puppy's all whining.
No, that's okay. We allow puppies.
Inner beauty was a hard one for me at first. I had a very rough childhood. So the first thing that I really did to start like becoming my own person was cutting off people. And that sounds harsh, but really like I've learned to take it to another level now. And it's not just like cutting off people, it's setting boundaries and really understanding what you're okay with, what you're not okay with, and where you draw the line and holding fast and strong with that line. So, I mean, it can range from like, I don't talk to my parents anymore because they're not people that are productive for me to have in my life, to me not maybe going out one night because it's just not right for my mental health, like to not being able to discuss certain things with certain people because it's just a boundary that I've set for myself. Whatever it is that you need, being able to say no to things is huge. Understanding when somebody is trying to push those boundaries and recognize that and how to address like that was a big learning curve for me. I used to say yes to everything anybody wanted me to do, needed me to do, whatever. I'm somebody who likes to help people. And it was at the expense of myself for a while. Understanding that like I can't fill somebody else's cup until I'm full, like really is how I started to like discover myself and how to like find myself, which is, you know, how you find your inner beauty as well. That being said, I distanced a lot, but I also found community, like my community. I got involved in like community PTSD survivor, like trauma survivors, along with the LGBT community. I do identify as pansexual, and getting into that and just like understanding my own identity, learning about other people's identity, and kind of where like you fit in with that was huge. Just really like accepting yourself, like, and in order to accept yourself, you really have to figure out who that is. And in order to do that, you kind of have to talk to other people and find the words to express that. So I really got involved in my community and I found some great people who like helped me with that and with mindfulness and being intentional in what I do. So I guess that's another one is like everything I do is like well, not everything. I'm still working on this very hard. But I try and do everything with intention, whether it's like doing this podcast or doing like going out with my kids and spending time with them or spending time with a friend and talking to them, like intentionally being there and like not just zoning out, not just being there to be there, but like really recognizing if this is something that I need to do for me and how to do that and just I don't know, being mindful of like the time and like where I am and just being present like in that moment and experiencing it because I used to not do that. I used to just kind of be places and I would be on my phone Snapchatting. I still Snapchat. Like if y'all follow me on Snapchat, then you'll see everything I'm doing as well. But like I put the phone away a lot more than I used to. I have just really sat down and enjoyed life more than I used to. And it's always a work in progress. I'm learning the tools in order to do these things and really like just working on like using those tools. So I guess that's like kind of how I found my like inner beauty and like through activism, I'm somebody who cannot keep quiet about things. Again, if you follow me, I try not to on Twitter as much, but like my Facebook is full of just everything because I was never somebody who learned how to be quiet and I think that's okay. And I didn't think that was okay for a while. So really like being okay with my voice and realizing that like if you don't really want to hear it and that's your like you can unfollow me if that's what's best for your mental health, but it's best for mine to really speak out and use my platforms to do that. Again, learning process. It's been it's been a journey these last couple years. And then I've had wonderful friends, wonderful people I've met along the way that have really helped it. I have my friend Christina. She goes by Xtina Jerry. She's a mindfulness coach and healer. And she, just being my friend, I've learned so much from her, just being intentional and mindfulness in my motherhood and everything like that. So like just learning from the people around me. But then there are also the social media people that I follow. Janet Mock is a trans activist and writer. She worked on People Magazine and Marie Claire. I actually got to meet her. I did a diversity training. I used to be the director of education for the Spectrum Caucus, which is the LGBT caucus for California colleges. And I got to do a workshop with her and have dinner with her. And she is just so inspirational. Redefining Realness was the first book she wrote. I wish I could bring it out, but I haven't unpacked my books yet. But it's basically like her realizing that like the definition that society has put on women isn't exactly like what it means to be a woman. You really make who you want, like who you are is woman enough. She is a trans woman, so that was a big journey for her. And her book and social media really goes through all that. She also has her second book, which is Surpassing Certainty, which is her really digging into more of that. So if you're on your journey on what like womanhood means to you and like how that fits in with society and breaking some of those like chains that we do have from society, she's somebody you should follow, and you can follow her at Janet Mock. I've been trying to get back into my fitness goals because inner beauty means strength to me, and strength, it's not just outer beauty, but like actual like power. And Shaun T is great for that. I don't know if any of y'all do like Insanity. It is Beachbody, which is MLM, but like Insanity, like my boyfriend had it and it's hard. But I love him to death, and his positivity is amazing. And he teaches you how to dig into your power, not just in your strength physically, but mentally and emotionally. And you can follow him. He's got two, I don't know if it's, he's got some kids and his husband, and they like eat donuts and real food. So it's not just all like fitness. He's all about the love too, and the donuts, which I'm a donut person. So it's to see like somebody with all that fitness eating. It really like I need that when I follow people fitness wise, because I'm not this salad every day of my life. As much as I love salad, it's just not in the cards for me. I need some other things. And then last but not least, I'm going to shout out my niece as inspirational person, because she is, I think she's 12 now. She just turned, maybe she's 10. Oh no, bad aunt. She lives in Boston. Yeah. But she's in gymnastics, and she is in love with Simone Biles and Allie Raisman. She goes to the gym and works out where Allie Raisman trained. And those two women are speaking out on not only sexual assault, but body positivity, their own strength and like womanhood. And if you have somebody younger or even just yourself that wants to follow them, I support all the content that they have made, everything they do, all of it. So those are the people that I like to follow. I have more like Laverne Cox and a bunch of other ones, but I'm going to leave you with those three because I just really like their posts.
I love that, Candy. I love it. And I just want to say, since you just spoke, I want to just tell you that I know that for those of you who are listening, you may not know. So Candy is a new friend to me. I don't know how long it's been since I've known you, a couple months. So, yeah. But I want to say that I am in awe of you often, as with all of you women on this podcast. But I wanted to just hearing you talk about your beauty path, if you will, your inner beauty path, and just learning to find your voice and coming from the situations you've come from, and just striving. I just wanted to say that I think that you are beautiful, inside and outside, and I just want to affirm your voice and your sexuality and your humanness and everything about you. I wanted to affirm you and let you know that I think that your path is amazing, and I'm really, really, really glad that you found your voice and that you're not afraid to use it, because it's a huge part, it's a huge essence of you. Because, you know, it represents you. Like, your voice is what you use to share with the world and share yourself. So thank you for sharing that, Candy, and thank you for sharing the people who inspire you. Love that.
Thank you for letting me be part of your platform in order to use my voice
Yes.
more. This is huge. Like,
Absolutely.
first of all, I love y'all, but like doing this has been really cool, and getting to know all of you more and talking about all this stuff. I didn't have a lot of women friends before, just the way like I move like every 3 years. So like having like, the consistency has really, really been great. Like,
I love it. You are always welcome.
Yes.
You're a huge part of our
Thank you,
show.
Twitter, for bringing us
Yeah, I
together.
mean, Haley and I mean, yes, I guess technically on paper we're the hosts, but I just feel like Girls Pod is
It's
not
us
complete
more.
without you, Candy, and
Yeah.
without you, Christian. So just, I could talk forever about how
I know,
much you
right?
guys mean to me, but I just wanted to affirm you, Candy. So thank you for sharing that with us and for the people that have given you that kind of support that you follow. Love that. For everyone who's listening, please go follow these people that inspire us. We have a couple more of us to go, but go follow these people because they're inspirational and they're great. I'm going to move forward to you, Christian. I'd love to hear more about. I already know that I love you deeply and I know how beautiful you are, Christian. But I would love for myself and for all of us to hear more about what you've done on your journey for inner beauty, and who along the way has helped you in that path, whether they're icons or people that you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to try. I just want to say, for anybody that doesn't know me, which is a lot of people that listen to the show, I am the most emotional person I know. So I'm going to try to
Beautiful.
do this without getting emotional. I've already almost cried a few times just listening to y'all talk. So
That's okay if you cry. We welcome it.
I'm gonna try not to, because I feel like once I start, it's gonna be hard to stop. So I'm gonna try
Sure.
to keep the cork on it.
Course.
At least
I just
until
wanted
we're
to give
done
you the
recording.
space.
I appreciate that. But yeah, so for me, I love when people talk about their voice, because guys, I'm 28 years old and I haven't found mine yet. I am on the journey to finding it, and I do want to say that, like Candy said, this podcast and doing these podcasts has been a huge help. So I want to say this experience of starting these podcasts and of even being offered the opportunity to host a podcast has been a really powerful way for me to step into my power and realize that even though I might not think that I have a lot to say, I do have a lot to say, and B, that there are people that will listen to it and hopefully enjoy it. I want to say that doesn't mean that you don't have to say something for other people to like it. That'll be my caveat to that. But just being able to share my experience has been part of growing. Aside from that, I too am very anxious. Like Carly said, I overthink everything. I live very much in my head and in a state of fear and anxiety. So also seeing a therapist and gaining perspective has been a big part of my journey of inner beauty, of figuring out the things that are actually problems and the things that I am creating problems from. So my therapist always liked to tell me, are you looking at a pebble and seeing a mountain? Or are you looking at a mountain and seeing a mountain? And I feel like for people with anxiety, that's something good to think about, because I feel like there are a lot of times when I see a pebble and it's a mountain in my mind. But being able to take perspective and to step back from my emotions sometimes and just assess things in a way of, these things are temporary. When we have things like anxiety, we get caught up in loops and it can be very hard to see that. So learning how to break those cycles has been huge for me, as well as just learning the skill of persisting. That probably started with college. I was completely miserable when I went off to college, for a lot of reasons that I could have changed, but at the time I was just very miserable, but I stuck with it, and I think in the end it paid off in a huge way, just of me having time to live by myself. I think that's very valuable, to live on your own and kind of realize yourself by yourself, and also having an education, which is something nobody can ever take from me again. Through that, through relationship problems, through my anxiety, even through my current journey of owning my health once again and becoming more physically fit, just learning how to persist, learning the value of just taking one more step. Whew, I am not going to get emotional about this. But yes, just learning the value and taking one more step, because I feel like people have said it before, but sometimes that one step is the last step that you needed to take. So that'll be that. And my last one is finally just kind of getting back into getting healthy, because when you have something like anxiety, especially when it's centered around relationships, I think not being physically happy with yourself just exacerbates your issue. I am very fearful of abandonment. And so when I looked at myself and felt as though others appeared more attractive than myself, it just exacerbated my issue. It made more sense in my anxious mind that, of course, my fiance might wander if he sees people more attractive than me. So I finally decided, if my physical appearance and my physical fitness isn't making me feel good about myself, then I should change that. Not for him, but for me, so that I can look at myself every day, and no matter if he's with me or not, I can feel powerful and strong, like Candy talked about. Now, just because it's an easy transition, I will talk about people who have helped me with that. I have to give credit to a woman called Stephanie Buttermore. She runs a YouTube channel. I also follow her on Instagram. I'm currently using her weightlifting program, but she just within the past year has done something that she called her all-in journey, which is where she realized that she had broken her hunger signals in her body, and she was constantly thinking about food. She was very lean, a very, very fit person, but she just realized she had broken her body at some point, and so she decided to go all in. That means that she ate whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. Hi, Atticus. We love him. And so it caused her to put on a lot of weight, and she documented her whole struggle of breaking down and having a completely different body type than she had ever had before. And she's also documented the ways that it has made her strong. So I want to shout her out. A person that I found on YouTube who's actually just a really amazing human being. Her name's Samantha March. She is a YouTuber and also an author, so she inspires me by being a writer. But she has also done a lot of work in the YouTube beauty community. She collaborates, she she promotes collaboration and positivity in that community. And every few months, she does something with her audience where she does monthly challenges. So she takes her time and sets up entire calendars of just self-betterment challenges that she goes through and puts out for her audience to go through as well. And I just think that's a wonderful way of spreading an attitude of we all get better and we can all get better together. And so she's kind of one of those like ray of sunshine people that just really brings joy to things and keeps very present in my mind that it's great to always be working on bettering yourself. It's wonderful to always be growing. And so she's been really inspirational. I wish that I had done just a tinge more research on this, because I'm sure that there are other people that I could think of. I know my mom inspires me. Since my father passed away, I've actually learned a lot more about things my mom went through as a child, about sexual abuse and physical abuse and all kinds of stuff that I never realized she went through. And just the fact that I never realized she went through them, I think says something about the way that she's become strong. But oh no, that was the one. Just knowing what she went through and the fact that she's tried so hard to be so different and to break that pattern is an inspiration. It really is. So especially, sorry guys.
You don't have to apologize for your feelings.
Well, I can't even imagine how I sound.
I think
right
we've
now.
all cried on Girls Pod at least once so far. So,
Well, and I want to bring it up because, I mean, Candy, you're an inspiration, truly. All three of you inspire me every time I talk about you guys or think about what you've been through. All three of you, it makes me realize.
I can make everybody else cry.
It makes me realize, like, I can get through my problems. Like, whatever I'm going through, the stuff you guys have gone through, if you've gotten through it, I can do it. Whatever that issue is. So I just wanted to say that. I'll end there so I can turn off my camera and, like, clean myself up real quick. But yes, so I want to thank you all for being such inspirational women, truly.
Of course. And Christian, you can turn your camera off or on or whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But I do want to affirm you too. I've known you for a while. I've met you through Haley. What a gift. I think I've met all of you now through Haley, technically. So
yes, Haley brings people together. That's one.
she does. It's a beautiful thing about Haley. But Christian, I've always been in awe of you, and I have always thought that you were incredibly beautiful, and that's like the least interesting thing about you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're beautiful outwardly, but also like you're just this deep well of a really, really exciting person. You have all these beautiful attributes about you, very, very selfless. You care a lot about things that matter. I love that you're a prolific writer. I know that you feel like you might not have found your voice, but I know whenever I've read things that you've written, it's been impactful to me. And I see so much beauty in you internally and externally. And I just wanted to affirm you and thank you for sharing about your journey. And entrusting us with that, and for sharing, the vulnerable things, and people who have helped you along the way. It's important, and I'm really glad that you shared with us. Thank you.
I love you.
I love you too. I mean it. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. So there. Thank you so much, Christian. And I guess that leaves our sweet Haley next.
Mm-hmm.
Haley, we'd love to hear from you. We already know how beautiful you are too. But we'd love to hear your inner journey, your inner beauty work, and the people who've inspired you.
Well, thanks to Christian to make me a little bit emotional before I even started. I feel like, honestly, a lot of my work has been done in the last 2 years. I feel like for the majority of my life, I've never felt beautiful and or confident. And just being around strong women, like I'm not even going to name celebrities or influencers because it's not those people that promote positivity or confidence or beauty to me. It's, my mom. She's a super strong woman, and she, especially after getting sick, has been my rock. I was in a sorority in college, and, different personalities sometimes make different relationships, but I have met incredible people and very strong women in that sorority who have just helped me see life maybe differently. Bad things that happened in college, helping me get through them. I met Carly and our friend Alyssa through that sorority. And honestly, like, I just don't know where my life would be without the amazing friends I have. I've been very, very blessed and lucky to find two, and it's always two women who changed my life in different aspects of my life. So in high school, I had Christian and Melanie. Still have them. I mean, me and Christian are going to hit our 15-year friendiversary next year, which will be half my life, like literally half my life next year. And then in college, Carly and Alyssa. And then and when I worked for my first full job at a police department, I met Amanda and Ashley. So, and Girls Pod has brought you to me, Candy. I don't know if I have two. I do love having Gabby and Mitch on True Crime, so it's kind of 3 this time. But I just love getting the other viewpoints and the other love from women, because I feel like a lot of times women tear each other down way more than men tear women down, especially in male-dominated fields where women should be supporting one another a lot more than we are, because we are the minority in that little group. And I feel like, you know, to have the type of women I have around me just helps me feel better. I've struggled a lot these last 2 years, mentally, physically, and things are finally getting better health-wise. So I need to work on telling people no, like Candy said, to not always put other people's happiness above my own. And the grief process from diabetes, because there's the stages in grief and I'm not through them yet. So that is major to me. But I just want to really emphasize how much you guys mean to me. So
I love you so much.
Beautiful. And Haley, you know, I love that you're forward focused and thinking about the things that you want to improve. But I'll just say that, I mean, besides, again, of course, you're gorgeous. That's a given. But the thing that I think is so beautiful about you is your resilience. I have seen you, I mean, ever since I've known you, you've always had this fighter quality about you in a healthy way. But I've just seen you transform into this like warrior, which maybe sounds dumb. Listeners, I don't care if you think I'm dumb. It's true. Haley has her warrior tattoo right there. But you really, because, you know, I've just seen you handle change with grace, and you've handled it in a way to where you didn't, at least from what I've seen, you haven't internalized it to where you've pushed people away. You have really, really been able to pour into the people around you and allow other people to pour into you. And that's one of the most beautiful things that I've ever experienced with you, because I've experienced people who have shut off and become really bitter and who've let the hardships of life like shut them down. And that's not the case with you. And you are radiant, and you are the type of friend who would drop everything, you know, the Find Out Who Your Friends Are song.
Mm-hmm.
Haley, for sure. And I think that you are stunning and amazing. And I love you very, very much. And I want to affirm you too. And know that you matter to me. Each of you matter to me. Your voices matter. And I love that we're on this journey together of going through process. I'm sure that there are a lot of things, a lot of goals that we have. I know I have a lot of goals. Haley, I know that we planned to talk about goals today. I know we're short on time, but if you want to, you can start us off on that. Like, you can lead us through. We can talk if you know that you have a beauty goal, inner beauty. We can maybe go through that.
Kind of just what I said, you know, just working on just strengthening my resolve when it comes to my health, being more attentive to the things that matter, because they might not seem like a big deal right now if I eat that donut and my blood sugar spikes, but the things that can happen to my body later in life because of it, like I just need to be more willing to take care of myself now and not just sit in that like sadness and that grief that it's happening,
right.
and take that next step and help fix it. Not obviously can't fix it, but at least take care of it to a point where it's not the forefront of everything. And then, like I said, just not always putting people first. I feel like that's always been, I just want everybody else around me to be happy. And so sometimes that takes a toll in my mental health. So I'm working on that, thanks to, like Carly said, counselors, therapists, people like that. They are very helpful when it comes to finding the things that you do need to work on. It's not about going and learning all these things are wrong, but it's just learning how to pull out maybe things that you didn't know were trauma and turn them around into a more positive thing. Before I ask everybody else, though, Carly, like, you reaffirmed everybody else, but I feel like it needs to be said how amazing of a person you are and how kind and gentle your heart is. And if there's anybody in this world that I feel like is the epitome of like a support, a Christian woman, just a very loving, open heart, it is you. You pull people into your home, into your life, into your heart, and you're just there for them. And I love that about you. And I love you. And your family, your whole family is like that. It is amazing to be around you guys. You just feel comfort and love when you're at your home. So I wanted to say that because you were loving on everybody else, but you also need to be loved on.
But I do. I love on people.
I know. That's what I love about you. So I just, I want you to know, like, I could go on and on about all of you guys. I may have only known you for a few months, Candy, but I feel that I know you, a good amount from these podcasts to know how amazing of a person you are. So just real quick, because we have gone past pretty much this is our longest one yet.
What is time?
So thank you to our listeners and viewers for still being here. But Christian, is there any goals for your inner beauty that you want to put out there?
Always. I'm really glad you affirmed Carly, because I was sitting here like, when will be the moment? But yes, so Carly brought up forgiveness. A big one for me is forgiveness, forgiving people in my past and myself. It's one of those things where sometimes it's hard to forgive yourself for things that you've done and move on from them. So definitely forgiveness, trusting more in my relationship, not in an ignorant way, but in a factual way of realizing that my anxiety is not who I am. It has no right to control me. And so I need to take back the power to be able to trust in my relationship, not just my romantic relationship either. In my friendships, I have anxiety in all of my relationships. So to be able to trust overall, and also to continue to work on my personal health. One of my biggest fears right now is when I go back to work, I'm going to fall off. And so that's going to be a major goal for me going back to work as a teacher, is to continue to build on the progress that I've made with my personal health and balancing work with that. Because I'm not going to lie to y'all, I never realized how stressful the school year is until it's over. So it's going to be a big one.
Yeah, well, I just have to say that I'm so proud of you that, people who do or don't want to lose weight or anything like that, it's up to you, when it comes to that. But because you decided that you wanted to do it and you really put your all into it from April until now, and the fact that you've lost at least 20 pounds, because we don't know, there might be more. I'm just so proud of you, because that is something that I need to work on, is motivation to getting my health into gear. And so I look up to you for that. And I look forward to getting your help in my motivation and maybe Carly helping us on the forgiveness part.
Yes.
For our
I'm still learning, but it's a practice.
Impart that wisdom.
Yeah. I'll share the video with you guys. Yes. The one that inspired me.
Yeah, sweet. Yeah. Candy, what about you? Any goals?
I guess my biggest goal, there's two, but they kind of go together, is to be more vulnerable. I think vulnerability is really beautiful. And I am a fighter at heart. I will fight for whoever needs it. But with that comes a hard shell that I am trying to soften a little bit, let people more in. And I've been doing that a little bit here. I've talked about some of the things I've gone through. But even that, there's just so much more, when something is when I have anxiety, letting the people around me know that that's what's happening. And my second one would be asking for help, which comes with the vulnerability. I'm not good at asking for help at all when I need it. I'm not good for asking for things. I don't want to put that burden on somebody else. I don't want to have to explain why I need it. And it's just not where I want to be. I want to trust people. In order to trust people, I have to really put myself out there, be vulnerable, and ask for things. So those are my two major goals. And then fitness, because quarantine was not kind to me.
Same girl.
I didn't do it. You guys.
I gained my quarantine 15, not my freshman 15, because I didn't gain it in college thanks to soccer. I mean, I did, just not freshman year, but I gained my quarantine 15.
I was doing so well, and then I moved from Boston to here, and I was where I wanted to be on everything. I was fine, and then between moving and quarantine and then moving into this place, it's just all of my hard work that I had before is gone. So it's restart for me, and it's the up and downs and feeling that shame, and then getting past that shame.
Yeah.
That I really just need to
100%.
Just do
I
it.
feel you. I feel you. I feel like I've disappointed myself because when I got sick, I lost an insane amount of, it made me super unhealthy in the other way. Like I went from 170 pounds to 119 in just a couple months. And then I put on healthy weight and I was at a size I wanted to be. I felt like my clothes were fitting the way I wanted them to be. And then it just kind of let myself gain that 15 pounds back. So that also was because of the diabetes burnout, and I was not wanting to take care of myself and, you know, kind of like punishing myself for no reason. So I'm with you. We'll go on our health fitness journeys together, and
I'm here with y'all.
we'll support one another because accountability is a huge thing.
Haley, I did want to say, when I was talking about vulnerability, I am so just in awe and proud of you for being so vulnerable with the diabetes stuff and how that's affecting you, not just your physical but mental health. And that's huge, first of all, representation wise. And it's huge just to be able to talk about just so openly like you do. And it's powerful.
Thank you. It took me a while. When I was first diagnosed, I didn't want to tell anybody other than my closest friends that I was diabetic because I feel like there's this huge stigma that you do it to yourself. It's because you ate bad food and sugar. And I'll be honest, I didn't know the difference between type 1 and type 2 until I was type 1 diabetic. And there's 7 different kinds of diabetes, guys. Who knew that? But I would hide. I would go to the bathroom to take my injections. I wouldn't tell people. Now I don't care. I'm like, here's my monitor. It's attached to my arm. I'm just going to stab myself. If you're not cool with needles, then just look somewhere else. But it takes time. And I'm still not 100% there. But you're right. I mean, there's not a whole lot of representation. I recently started watching the Babysitters Club on Netflix because one of the babysitter girls is diabetic, type 1. And I'm watching it because of that. The fact that they're willing to put it in a show and show the kind of things that you have to go through and talk about it in a positive way, not a negative way. So I appreciate that a lot. It's been a struggle for 2 years so far, but we're getting there. Before we wrap up though, Carly, is there any goals that you have?
Yeah, I'm always trying to get better.
Yeah.
But I think the big ones are being the master of my anxiety, controlling that. And I've gotten a lot better. I kind of mentioned a couple of things I'm already doing that help with my anxiety, but I want to become even more in control, and feel strong. I want to feel strong inside, and I want to feel strong, physically too. I also have a lot of health things. My mom had a heart attack last year, and I was the only one who was with her, and it was so traumatic for me. And meaning my husband was out of state, my dad was out of the country, my siblings live hours away. It was just us, and learning about the genetics of my family, and learning that getting blood work done, and learning that my heart is not set up for success just the way it's wired. But I have a lot of power in that because I have the knowledge, and I know what to do for my body. I know how to keep my body strong. I have all the nuts and bolts of it, right? But just really, really taking control of my health and being strong, and those things. But inner beauty wise, my anxiety and focusing on being more unapologetic. I mean, I always want to be kind. I never ever want to be unkind. But I do a lot of times strive to be very diplomatic in some situations where I shouldn't be, when it comes to, wanting to use my voice for good. And so I definitely want to be more sure-footed, and my anxiety has a lot to do with that. So I feel with a lot of these issues, I feel like they're kind of all hand in hand, right? And once we start working on certain aspects, they all kind of, can get better. But I know that all of us, now having said all of our goals out loud, I know that they're achievable, you guys. I know that we're going to continue on this path, and our listeners, I want to invite you in. And I want first and foremost to say to you, listeners and viewers, that this whole beauty series, it's so much fun, right? It's so fun to learn about these things, and to learn how to, illuminate the beautiful parts of our bodies that we love, right? It's fantastic. It's very artistic, it's expressive, and I love it. But I just want all of you to know, listening, and I hope that if this last episode has done anything, that it concretes this message, and that message is this, that you, listener, dear listener, are perfect the way that you are, with your body the way that it is, your mind the way that it is, your sexuality, every part of you the way that you are is perfect. And any changes that we make to ourselves to enhance our beauty is not because who we are isn't right or that we need to fix something. It's just to accentuate our true selves. And I don't want any of you to walk away with this feeling shame. I want you to walk away from this whole series feeling empowered to be exactly who you are. And that is a beautiful person. And so please, please be encouraged by this. Know that we don't maybe know you individually, but we do care about all of you guys, and we want you to know that you matter, and that this world is a really, really mean place, but you have an important part in it exactly the way you are right now. You're worthy, period. And we mean it. I'm so serious. Like, there's nothing you can do about that. Like, you're worthy, and period. We're done. Like, that's the truth. So just thank you to everyone who has listened this far into this very, very long podcast.
What a finale for is to be long.
Yes,
right?
it's the finale, so we had no choice. Thank you for supporting this show. From each of us, we just want to wish you a great week, and thank you for listening. Please, please consider following these people that we've mentioned. Please consider following the Black-owned beauty brand that we talked about. Consider checking out these things that we spoke about. We talked about Paranova, the company. We talked about Planned Parenthood, Open Path Collective, BetterHelp.com, GLAAD.org. We will link all of these things for you. All the things we talked about today, we'll link it whenever we post this, so that way you can access it. Please check those things out. Those are resources available to you that you owe it to yourself, because you matter, to go check these out.
Which puppy is dying over there?
I know the dogs are also commenting on the situation, and they're saying that you matter and you should check these things out. That's what the dogs are saying.
I love it.
Dog. Okay. But before we say goodbye, let's just go around really quickly and tell everyone where they can find us online. I will start with and Haley, I'll start with you, and if you can tell everybody about where to find all of the Pones.
Yeah, you can find Pones Media on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. On Twitter and Instagram, it's at Pones Media, PWNS Media. And then on YouTube, you just have to search that name and you can find us. You can see our faces. And in the previous episodes, the products we showed you. And then we also have ponesmedia.com, which links to our YouTube page and our podcast. And also you can get some merchandise on there, maybe some, One for the Girls Pod shirts. Hopefully Christian's and Carly's will be here this week. So check that out. Follow Pones Media so that you can keep up with us. There's also an @One for the Girls Pod. It's the number 1 for the Girls Pod. So follow that. You can keep up with the podcast specifically. And then you can follow me on Twitter @CSI Haley.
Love it. Christian, where can the listeners and viewers find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram @It's Me Christian G. That's Christian with a K.
And
Love
on
it.
Nerd Pod, hosting Nerd Pod.
Yes, she's the host
of
Nerd Pod. Love that. Candy, where can the listeners and viewers find you?
You can find me on Twitter @Candy with an I _Lee_Bell or @CandyLeeBell on Instagram.
Love it. And you guys, you can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm active on both. On Twitter, I'm @CarlyGreenMusic. And on Instagram, I'm @CarlyGreenOfficial. So thank you all so much again. We love you. We're so grateful for you. If you've enjoyed this show, you've enjoyed what you've heard, please go subscribe to our podcast and like and rate and review it and leave us some comments on our YouTube page. We really want to hear from you guys and we want to hear what you're saying. So yeah, let us know what you think. Until then, we'll see y'all later.
Bye.
Bye.